Hello, everyone. Welcome to Looking Up. This is a podcast for Christian women, and we are glad that you've joined us. We are thankful for you, and we pray for you, and we're just glad that you've taken the time to listen to us and to join in our conversation. We've always said we want this to be like we're sitting around a kitchen table, and I've got a Diet Dr. Pepper with me, and I don't know what Kathy has with her, but it's probably tea or something like that. And it's what?
Squanto. I have nothing.
Oh, it's like, what
Now
kind of
I'm
drink is
thirsty.
Squanto?
Now I feel thirsty. Thank you very much.
Well, you need, what is that, lemon Topo Chico or the lemon
Limonada.
fizzy thing, that
My
limonada? You need one of those
favorite
with you.
drink. San
Yeah.
Pellegrino limonada.
Yeah. So we just want
Mhm.
this to be like we're sitting around a table having a conversation and you're sitting here with us. And lots of people have said that they talk back to us, and you can just pretend like we hear you, or you can shoot us a text or a message on the Looking Up group and let us know what you think about things. And it would be fun. Maybe someday we can have one of those great big table discussions, and would love to hear from you. So anyway, what's been going on in your life lately?
Oh, it's spring. The sun is actually shining today. Lots of good things going on. I can already feel the pace picking up a little bit, because you've got camp and VBS and all the planning for those things
Mm-hmm.
are starting to kick into high gear. And we're having a big cleaning work day out at the camp. And, just it's all good stuff. But in my mind, summer is my favorite season. And
Yeah,
we
me
haven't
too.
even started it yet. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of doing that thing where I'm like, it's going to go by so fast. It's going to
No,
go by
slow down,
so
slow
fast.
down.
I know. I hadn't even
Mm-hmm.
started yet. And I'm going, ah!
Yeah, I do that with the daylight. I'm like, okay, it's today is
Oh,
May the whatever,
yes.
and on June
Yeah.
21st, that's the summer solstice. That's when the sun starts going the other way. I don't want it to come yet. I want it to stay light.
I know.
I don't know, just does something to my mood. So anyway,
Well,
it's
you
funny.
mentioned, oh, go ahead.
Now, what are you going to talk about?
You mentioned hearing from others that are listening in, and
Mm-hmm.
we do appreciate that so much. And I love the Looking Up group on Facebook because when people make comments, even when they don't have to do anything with our shows, I love that sense of community, and it's like this online friendship that we all have with each
Mm-hmm.
other. And sometimes we're asking for suggestions or advice, and sometimes we're just sharing things. And
Yeah,
um, so we always read them, we always enjoy them,
yeah,
and appreciate it.
yeah. My friend Alice messaged me and told me that they'd found a donor, and I shared that in the group. And she asked if I would share it with the group because she
Oh,
said it's just
good.
been so encouraging and has lifted her spirits. And there were so many people that sent cards to her. So anyway, she's got a tentative bone marrow transplant date of July 15th. So
Mm.
it depends on a lot of things. It probably won't actually
Mhm.
be that date. But anyway, I was going to tell you that I think I told you that John planted some grass. Got a half of
Yeah,
a pallet.
right.
So yeah, well, so we have cows that walk around on our property. They're not
I
ours.
know you do. I've seen them.
Yeah. So they just roam on several different people's property because we don't have a fence. And I guess it's leased. I don't understand how all that works. They've just been there forever, and I just accept it. It's just the way life is around my house. So it's like, to me, it's like the yard outside this new grass is like a bag salad. And then that little plot of like 20 feet by 15 feet is like the most luscious salad you've ever had in your life. And that's what they want.
Oh,
So
oh
once it gets
no.
established, they can eat on that grass. But right now, it's still like if they reach down and grab, they'll pull up the whole,
Oh
what do you
no.
call it, a plot, a little
Mhm.
thing of grass. And so John was going out of town last weekend. And when we walked out one day, there's one of the cows standing in there with a big old hunk of his grass. And he was like, no. So he went and got some cedar or some cedar posts and some cinder blocks. And he built this huge, big X, like put the cedar post through the cinder blocks and made this elaborate fence so that they can't get in there, at least while it's getting established. And he's trying to keep those cows out of it. And they're very determined. And, it's right there by our deck. And we were sitting eating dinner one night, and he jumped up and ran outside real quick. And one of the calves, is probably not a baby, not a calf born this year, but maybe last year, had jumped over and weaseled his way and was just standing in the middle of that plot of grass as happy as you please. And so then we're like, okay, how do we get him out of here without, we didn't want him to hurt himself, but so we had to move one of the cinder blocks. And anyway, dude, we've been babying that dumb plot of grass for 2 weeks now and just ready for it to get established.
These are the days of our lives.
Yeah. we have such exciting lives, don't we?
When you shared that with us, you said something about it's not very fun to spend money on grass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's been the grass and then the fence around the grass. And who knows what step is next? He's probably going to be buying like water gun pistols or something.
Yeah, he's already got those got like a BB gun.
BB gun.
And he didn't even spend anything on the fence. He is the king of coming up with what I've already got to use. And he had, I don't even know what you call it, but they're those squares, like a piece of fencing. So that's propped up, held up by something else. And then those cedar posts that we've cut down, I've cut down some of those, and cinder blocks that we've had forever. So I'll send you a picture and I'll post it in the group next week, but I'll send you a picture because it's ridiculous. It's like Fort Knox around this grass and they still found a way in. But
the grass saga, John 0, cows 1.
I think it's cows more like 4 or 5.
Oh no.
They've had their fun munching on it. Anyway, it'll get there. You got things growing, I'm sure.
I do. And it gets fun this time of year because we plant marigold plants around our tomato plants and they're already blooming out. They've already grown and they've got flowers on them. And to me, that's the start of when things get really exciting. It's like from here on in, huge growth happens.
Yeah. So
that's where we are. And I become, fixated on the weather. Is it going to rain or do I have to get out there and water? Mm-hmm. But I thought of something the other day because I was looking at Facebook Marketplace and I was trying to decide when I had purchased a certain item. And I didn't realize until I was looking into that you can go back and see all of your selling history and purchasing history on Marketplace.
You can see purchasing?
Yes. And so it lists everything that you purchased and the dates, all that stuff is in there. So anyway, I went back and looked at the last 4 things that I bought on Marketplace. And I thought it's kind of like, how people do that thing on social media, share the latest picture on your phone or the last 3 texts that you've sent, and it's supposed to give
my life.
Like here's a snapshot of who you are. And so the last 4 purchases that I've made on Marketplace are a chicken tractor, which is just basically a mobile. It's a our chickens are going to get on their little John Deere
driving a John Deere.
It's a mobile chicken coop. It's one where you can lift the whole thing and move it to different parts of the yard so that they can sort of graze
while they're in it,
but stay contained.
Okay.
And that way they can get all their grass and bugs without digging up my flower bed. So I'm very excited. That's supposed to arrive on Sunday. I bought a chicken tractor. It's brand new. This guy built it. A KitchenAid gas grill, a big old pile of horse manure, and a set of terracotta clay pots. So that's like, I was reading it and going,
it's a little random.
Pretty much sums it up right there. So I had asked you the same thing to go back and look and see, what were the last few purchases. I was curious what yours would look like.
How do you see what you've bought? I can see what I've sold. And I use that a lot more. I sell a lot more than I buy. Mm-hmm. But I can't find where I know 2 things. I was thinking I'd bought more. The only 2 that I can remember, we bought a leather couch that was a fantastic deal. I think this woman, and this is part of why I don't buy on there very much, because I'm not competitive, and I don't like. Sometimes you find something and before you've even messaged them, it's already sold. And some people, like when I sell things, they like next, whatever. And I don't want to get in a bidding war with somebody. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm not going to try. But this woman that we bought the couch from, I think her father had died or something, and she had inherited a bunch of furniture. So she was basically just trying to get rid of it. And it's a curved, it's just slightly curved on the ends, but it's a great leather couch. so much that I'm like paranoid about it. I'm always telling John, put a pillow under your head. And I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that person that's like paranoid about their furniture. And then the other thing I remember buying is those 4 black bar stools. I think I shared them on the group. I don't know, it was last year when I bought them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you
Yeah.
find what you've bought. But anyway, you can tell me that
Mine was
later.
just a topic right under things that I've sold. So it was like items sold, purchases made, and you just clicked on them.
I've got your listings, announcements, insights, notifications, marketplace follows. Maybe it's under insights. Anyway, I don't
Yeah.
have to mess with
So
that now,
yours
but
is furniture.
just furniture, yeah. And the bar stools turned out to be even better. I think I paid like $75 for 4 that I liked them, but it was kind of a incident. Like we just needed new bar stools. And when I got them, they were Pottery Barn and they were like $399 new online. And I got all 4 of them for $75. So it's a great place
Wow.
to find stuff if
It is. Yeah.
you have to kind of get lucky though.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had pretty good luck. Maybe it's not as competitive here as it is where you are.
I don't
But
know.
like the clay pots that I just got, it was a huge, I'm gonna say there were 12 to 15 of these, and they were all nice and big, and they look brand new. And
What did you buy those for?
it was like 10 or $15. Oh,
But
you
I mean,
mean
where do you use
purpose?
them? Uh-huh.
Well, anytime that my indoor house plants get big, I repot them, into another pot. And sometimes I bring in mint or lemon balm, and I
Mm-hmm.
want some in the house too. So I'll put some of those in clay pots. I love terracotta. I love clay
Yeah.
pots. I especially love them when they get aged looking.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just never have too many of them,
You
really.
just need to make your own from those shards that you've brought home from Israel.
Yes. No.
That would be a little tedious, but it would be cool.
Yeah, you sound like a creative type.
Yeah,
That's
but
that's
I'm
not
not.
me.
Yeah, you
That's not
should
me.
let Christy do that for you. Say,
Mhm.
here are some shards. You go make me a big new pot. You may not have that many pieces, but she could probably figure it out.
Yeah, she if anybody could, she could.
Yeah, yeah, she
Yeah.
could. So my niece Lauren texted me a couple days ago, and she had just listened to the podcast where we talked about how to not be frumpy. And she said, go look up on Pinterest, grandma. Now I have to look back at it and see what it was. Grandma and French girl. I think those are the ways what she called it. Grandma couture, not couture. Here it is. She said, go look. Oh, so I should have had this ready. Go look on Pinterest and search coastal grandmother and French girl
Oh,
style.
yeah.
She said, I just listened to the frumpy part and this is what's in currently. So I
Mhm.
went and looked for coastal grandmother. Like, how do they come up with the names of
I actually
these
love Coastal
styles?
Grandmother.
Yes, I did too. And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just mostly like monochromatic stuff and
Mhm.
just
Linen.
off-white and cream and
Mhm.
linen and maybe a
Mhm.
nice pair of jeans or black pants,
Straw
whatever.
bag. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I wrote back to her. I said, neutral straw basket, purses,
Mhm.
gold jewelry. I can get on board with that. But the
Yeah.
French girl, no thanks. It was like a lot of ugly black boots and red pointy toed shoes and tight jeans and things like that. It's like, no, that's not my style at all.
Yeah. White tops and red lipstick.
Yeah. I mean, white top's okay, but no, I'm not gonna do red lipstick.
Mhm.
So she's the one that I tend to watch her stuff because she's like a bigger eBay seller than I ever was, not just eBay, but Poshmark and other stuff, things like that. So I'll kind of watch her Poshmark feed when I'm at Goodwill to see what's in style, what I should be looking for, because I have
Mhm.
no idea anymore. And that, like we were talking about on the last episode, that's one of those things that I just really don't care about anymore. It
Yeah.
just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Style doesn't matter to me anymore. So,
But this is your year to shine because oversized bags, oversized purses, like big purses, are really, really in this year. So,
okay.
haha.
That's interesting because I just switched to a little bit smaller one.
Uh-oh. Oops.
Yeah, well, I get tired of my shoulders hurt all the time because I have those stinky big bags. But yeah, I
Mm.
do like a big purse, but I end up carrying all of John's stuff. That's probably why.
Well, it's so funny. I thought about you the other day because we were out somewhere. My purse is on the smallish side,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden Neil started handing me his things, and
Yeah.
it was, his sunglasses, his reading glasses, his wallet.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to shove them in there, and I'm going, this purse was not made for my things and yours. And I was
Yeah.
laughing because you had just said that on the
Hmm.
podcast about you
Hmm.
can't get away with that because you always end up with John's things.
Yeah. His
I think
wallet.
Neil listened to that episode
Uh,
and thought, genius, that's a great
yeah.
idea. Why
Why
haven't I
haven't
been
I been?
doing that?
Yeah. Well, it is a little bit irritating. I don't mind a lot of times if I'm not walking for a long distance, but I have to say, when we go on hikes and things, John will always carry my water bottle. He carries heavy stuff for me. So I guess I can carry his keys and his wallet and his
It all
glasses.
evens out in the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. It will eventually.
Sort of.
Anyway, yeah. So have you had any more tornadoes there?
Not since the last one. We have had some more storms,
Mm,
lots of thunder and lightning, big, big lightning.
yeah. We had Clara overnight one night when there was a storm, and I don't think she would have completely flipped out, but she doesn't like that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
I just turned on the TV and turned it up really loud, and we had hail coming down, and it wasn't huge where we were. About 20 miles from here, they had cantaloupe size hail. And I thought, if this gets any
Yeah.
worse, she is going to freak
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
And it was going to be a, dangerous situation, but it ended up kind of skirting past us, but just turned the TV up really loud. So she never heard it. I don't like mean storms.
I don't either. I don't
Yeah.
either. I like
Yeah.
a light summer rain
Mhm.
to water
Yeah.
my plants and then for it to stop and the sun to come out. You know how
Yeah.
if you could just order the weather
Hmm.
the way you need for the day, that would be perfect.
Yeah. And for it
Around
to not make
Christmas
mud.
time, I'd like to order a little bit of snow.
Is that too much to ask?
Is that too much to ask? I feel like we're getting into dangerous territory here.
Yeah. Yeah. We probably should just move along, right?
Let's move right along, shall we?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, do you have anything
A
else you want
good
to share?
time to remind everybody.
What?
Speaking of dangerous territory, this is unscripted, unedited.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever we ask, which we don't ask for very long, but for people to subscribe or follow our channel or whatever, that's just so more people can see it. We don't monetize this podcast in any way, but you get what you pay for, right? We also don't have we don't have a professional studio or equipment. Um, a couple of episodes ago was when the Ring doorbell kept going off, and even my
Yeah.
sister said something like, "Your house was pretty busy during that episode. Like there was a
That's
lot of
because you were
stuff
having a
going on." And
tornado.
I know, but I do apologize when those things happen, and can't really do anything about it. But
I don't
hopefully
think
this will
anyone
be a
expects us to be professional.
well. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a very good thing because it is
If
not going
not,
to happen.
they will move right along to another podcast.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But we hope you'll stay with us. We appreciate all of
Yes.
our listeners.
Yes. And we love you and pray for you. We really do.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
What are we doing today?
We're going to just have fun today.
Yay. I
Something
was
that neither
hoping
one of
you'd
us had
say
to
that.
prepare for.
My
But
favorite.
you're gonna kind of be on the hot seat though, because I'm the one with the questions and you're the one with the answers. Because you don't have any of the questions.
Oh, this just got less
Yeah.
exciting. I
Yeah, it's gonna
take
be
all
great.
that back that I just said. Now all of a sudden
Hmm.
my underarms are itching.
Maybe we should have an episode one day about how to solve underarm itches. Maybe not. We're just going to have fun today because we've had a little heavier episodes, plus just preparation time. We haven't had a whole lot of time. We're just going to do, for those of you who are watching, table topics. And I know I have mentioned table topics before. I don't know if it was a favorite thing or if it was just a good something for you, something good for you, but it's fun. It's just a little game. Anyway, are you finished with chit chat so we can move on? Just realized that I may have rushed into topic here.
Yes, I am. Thank you for asking.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll move along now. Table topics. It's a game basically, but it's more like conversation starters.
Hmm.
And so it comes in a little cube and it's a small thing and they're pretty expensive in the store. They're like $30, but I have found them at Goodwill many times. So just maybe look on Facebook Marketplace and you find some. But they're better than the average conversation starter because they're just fun things. You do kind of need to go through them before you just set them on your table. Because sometimes I've found some that are a little bit less appropriate, maybe. They have some for families and kids, but they'll have ones for date nights. They'll have some for girlfriends, things like that. This one, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure which one I got it from. But anyway, so I'm just going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
And we'll see what you come up with and maybe have a little conversation and just have some fun. Sound good?
Mostly.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here's your first one.
Okay.
What fashion trend you followed was very cool then, but now looks ridiculous?
How far back are we going on this?
You can go back as far as you want to.
The first thing that popped into my head was the parachute pants of the 80s.
Yep. Did you actually have some?
Yes, I had a black pair. I had one that was like a sort of a corally hot pink color.
Was it like Hammer Time parachute pants?
No, they weren't like voluminous. They
didn't sag.
But when you walk, they made that sound. But they were very comfortable. They had pockets. They were cool. Now I shudder just thinking about it.
Yeah. What about you? That was high school. I think I even saw a picture of these not too long ago, and you may be a little bit young to remember this because this was middle school for me, but they were, I don't even know what they call them, but they were like knee pants, and most of them came in corduroy, and then they had like a band around just below your knee. So they were not culottes because those bloused out.
Like British knickers?
Yeah, kind of like knickers, yeah. But you wore them with knee socks and saddle shoes.
Wow.
Or penny loafers. Saddle shoes or penny loafers. So that would have been like 1981, 82, something like that.
Yeah, I'm picturing how the men dress on Sense and Sensibility.
Well, maybe not quite like that. We didn't have like the, what do you call the thing at the neck?
From the waist down.
Yeah. Knickers. They were knickers, pretty much knickers. So yeah, I had a pair of those and I was very proud of them too.
Are there pictures?
Probably. I don't know if they're pictures of me, but there are pictures of the style. So
I bet your mom has some.
Yeah, I can still picture it. They were khaki colored corduroy, and I had a blue gingham long sleeve shirt that I wore with it, and I had like cable knit knee socks. So the socks came up actually higher than the pants. So it's kind of like wearing knee-high pantyhose and penny loafers. I was very proud of them. Yeah.
I would like to see a picture of that. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It makes you wonder, what are we wearing now that we are going to shudder about later? Because I'm sure we will.
By the time that point comes, we'll be too old to care. So.
That's true. Okay, we're going to do a few silly ones before we move on to the little more serious ones. Okay, here's your next one. Would you be likely to survive alone in the wilderness?
I would like to say yes, but probably no.
Okay. Probably no. What would be the thing that would kill you?
Fear.
Fear, yes. Me too.
Just hunting for food. I don't think I would be very good at that.
You can find all the plants though.
Building shelter, like shelter is supposed to be the number one thing. I don't think I'd be very good at that. Also, I don't like being cold and dirty. That sounds terrible.
I don't like that either.
I'd be praying, Lord, take me now.
I'm done with this. Well, I love that show Alone, and we've talked about it before. And I have also confessed that I have a fascination with things that I will never do, but that I think I would be one of those people that go home on the first day. Yeah. Either I would fall and break a leg and you have to call, push the button and say, whatever it is that you say, I'm leaving, or I'm tapping out. I can't get up. Yeah, I'm tapping out. Or I might make it to the first night under my little tent, but the first growl I heard, I'd be out. Sorry, couldn't get me. Not doing this.
Not worth it.
No. Yeah.
My
what,
boys
million
would love
dollars?
it. Yeah, they would thrive because
Hmm.
they're all into that survival stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah. I
that's
think
what they
John could
do.
do
That's
it.
what they do that for fun.
Being dirty and yeah, hunting
Yeah.
for food.
Seeing if you can survive off the land. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, they basically did that when they were younger, didn't they?
pretty much.
Yeah. Well, there was one episode or one season where they had couples, not
Mhm.
necessarily husband wife couples, but there was one where it was a son and a father. And I thought Jordan and John could probably do that. And maybe Micah and John could probably do that. I don't think Jacob would want to, but they probably could live for a good long while. But
Mhm.
no, me, I'd be out. Mm. I'd go visit them for an afternoon, maybe, but that's about it. Okay, here's your next one.
Okay.
Would you stop eating all junk food to live 5 years longer? All junk food out to live 5 years longer.
Yes, that's an easy one.
Not me.
What?
No. So
Huh.
if I die at 85 or 80, if you have to take out chocolate, Dots pretzels, all those things, I think it's a hard to say no, but no, I
Is
don't think
chocolate
I
a
would.
junk food though?
I'm pretty sure.
Because dark chocolate is a superfood.
Okay, would you stop eating all milk chocolate and cookies and ice cream and things like that to live 5 years longer? Your answer is yes, huh?
Hmm.
It was a quick yes, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one for you. What's your biggest pet peeve? I thought it would be fun to have an episode on this, but we try to be encouraging, so we can just ask each other this one time.
My biggest pet peeve is it's a tie between being late and being rushed. And by
And
being
usually
late, I
those
mean people making me late.
because you're not going to be
People that
late on
I'm
your own.
with making us late.
People that
Nobody in
live in your house.
particular,
What
which
is it
leads
about being
to
late?
which leads to being rushed
Mm-hmm,
because you're late.
mm-hmm.
And then traffic is always bad in those instances. And it's just all like compounds upon each other. So
Yeah. So how does it affect you? What does it make you do?
it makes me grouchy.
Okay. Note to self.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I have made you late before. So we tend to be a little bit on the late side. Anyway,
I
my
still
pet
love you.
peeve. Oh, thank you. I
I don't live
appreciate
with
that
you, so that
you
helps.
give me grace when it comes to that. Yeah, I feel like I'm always the one on podcast days where I'm like, I'm going to need an extra 15 minutes. But we have one car. That does
Yeah.
complicate things sometimes when I
Hmm.
have to get somewhere.
Hmm.
That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
It works.
Okay. My biggest pet peeve today, because it might change, but this one is a pretty consistent one, is when someone parks their shopping buggy basket, whatever you call it, in the middle of the aisle and then walks over here and blocks a whole nother section of the aisle. That bugs me. It's very inconsiderate. And you're standing behind them and
Uh,
you can't move because their buggy is right here and they're right here and you can't fit between them.
so I have a question for you. Are you the
Okay.
type that will say, "Excuse me, please," or are you just stand there and fume, waiting for them to move?
Depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll even like push their basket with my basket to get it out of the way to go
And by
around.
push, do you mean shove?
No, I'm not that rude. I will very gently just push the basket. And if they look at me, I'll say, "Excuse me." But I just think that's inconsiderate. Like keep your basket. You call it a buggy or basket?
Shopping cart.
I think I say basket. Like keep your basket with you. Don't walk away from it. Of course, I do it sometimes, but I look around to see if there's anybody there. And I quickly go get what I want and put it right back in. But anyway, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, I think I'm thoughtful as a shopper, but there have been times if Neil's with me that we'll end up standing there discussing something. And next thing I know, I look over my shoulder and somebody has been
Yeah.
patiently waiting. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. Or when you're on your phone blocking the aisle, that's also, I'm sure I've done that too. Okay,
That's
one
funny.
more sort of trivial one, and then we'll get some more serious ones. What was your favorite childhood meal?
Hmm. Well, I called it chicken without bones. So I think I just meant chicken tenders.
Boneless chicken. Okay.
But my mom made it. Like she would flour them and fry them, and it was so good, and but I just remember always. And so whenever we went, we didn't go out very often when I was growing up. And if we ended up at a fast food chicken place, I always asked for chicken without bones. Chicken without bones and mashed potatoes. That was my favorite meal as a kid.
Okay. That your mom made.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would pick frozen pizza. Kind of sad. Frozen pizza. Maybe even Totino's. It didn't really matter, just any pizza. But frozen pizza, if mom pulled that out, it was my day was made. Plus, when I was, up until about middle school, where the church building was in San Marcos, if dad pulled up, to exit the parking lot, we knew if he turned right, he was going home on Sunday night, because Sunday night was kind of sometimes eat out. If he turned right, we were going home. But if he turned left, we were going to Mr. Gaddy's. And so we would just sit in the back seat and go, which way is he going to turn?
Turn left, turn left,
turn left. Yeah. Because we knew we weren't supposed to say, Dad, can we go? Back in the day, we were a little more well behaved than I think maybe my children would have asked, can we go? Not that it was a terrible thing to ask, but like I knew better than to say. Like Dad would tell me, don't ask. If it happens, it happens. So anyway, yeah, pizza, always pizza.
Good choice.
Okay. All right. So here's a few more serious, somewhat discussion questions. Which is more important to you, the respect of your children or the respect of your parents? And let me extend this a little bit more, because I thought about this too. The respect of your children or the respect of your parents or older members of your congregation that you respect a lot.
Oh, I'm going to say the respect of my children.
Yeah.
And probably because I'm hoping that I still somewhat have influence over them,
Yeah.
and their souls matter most to me, I guess. So,
yeah. Yeah, I think I would say the same thing, because it's funny how the relationship changes when they grow up and when they're adults. And this was one of those things that I forgot about last week when we were talking about the benefits of aging and getting older. I think one of them that was kind of an obvious one that I didn't think about was the relationship with your children, and how you can have a friendship with your children as adults that you didn't have when they were younger. But it is very gratifying to get a phone call or a text or a visit or whatever, where they say, you know what, you were right about this, or I need your advice about something, just to know that they still respect what you have to say, even when they are in a different phase of life, I think is rewarding. I like that.
yeah. And I just think that if I did something that my children found out about that they lost respect for me for, it would hurt them.
Yeah.
And I know other people would be hurt too, but it would hurt me more to hurt my children. If that makes sense.
Sure.
I don't ever want to do anything to hurt them.
Yeah. But don't you think as you have grown older that you've realized that your parents were not right about everything?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a big realization for me. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening, you were right about everything, but not really. And I'm sure, I know that our children have realized that we were not right about everything. And it's like one of those eye-opening, oh, well, if they were wrong about that, then I don't know. It's just kind of one of those red letter days that you realize that your parents weren't right about everything and didn't do everything right. But if you still have their respect, that means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Here's another one. Which is more important, intelligence or common sense?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with common sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've known some really smart people seemed a little shy on common sense, and it seems to affect the most practical daily life decisions in my mind.
That was like a no-brainer to me, because I think because there's one person in particular from way back in my past that was very, very, very smart, intelligent, brain smart, but had zero common sense. And I remember thinking, how is this possible? Because to me, common sense and intelligence are the same thing, but it's not.
Mm-mm.
You can be really book smart and have not much common sense. And you can't really function in this world without common sense, I think. I mean, you can make a living, but I think you alienate people and you I don't know. I just think your relationships are really affected when you don't have common sense.
Yeah, I think life will just be a lot harder when you lack common sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of an
Mm.
obvious one to me. Um, okay, this is somewhat, it could be serious, it could be funny. Which moment from your life would you choose to relive if you could?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Hmm, you can pick more than one.
Okay. My first date with Neil.
Okay.
That was awesome. Um, the birth of my children, the days they got baptized, their weddings, the birth of my grandchildren. I
Yeah.
mean, so many precious moments.
Yeah. I would like to go back to my wedding day, I think, because I was in such a fog, just
Yeah.
like I remember even when I look back at our wedding video, when I walked down the aisle, my mom reached out and squeezed my elbow. Like when I walked by her, I had no idea. Just it was like, I don't know. You just don't. I remember certain bits and pieces of that day,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to like go relive it just so I could cherish each moment because it was a fun day.
Mm-hmm.
Except my mom, talk about being late. She almost made me late to my own wedding. And we still laugh about that. We laugh about it now. We didn't laugh about it much then, um, but just I would like to remember and feel what it felt like to walk with my dad down the aisle and to be able to
Mm-hmm.
look because I think I was just focused on, not liking people looking at me, looking at John, but I would like to look around and remember who was there that day and where they sat. And, I can look back at our wedding book and see who signed the registry, but
Mm-hmm.
just wish I could go back and relive that day.
I'd like to rephrase that question and present it to you.
Okay.
Because when I guess I was thinking of like highlight moments that are worth repeating. But
Mm-hmm.
what about do-overs? Is there a moment you wish you had a do-over just so you could handle it better?
Ooh, yeah. Lots of those little incidental ones. Um, oh, what would I want to do over? There's lots of different um, moments that I probably responded in anger to John when I could have been much more gracious, which led to 2, 3, 4 days of not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I could think of one or two in particular that I probably shouldn't share all the details about it, but just I remember, I think I look back when I was doing camps, and I don't as much anymore, but um, when my boys were in high school, I was a counselor for teen girls, and we would always have like one night was always going to be where we get together and talk to them about purity. And we did some pretty neat things. Like we would bring a wedding dress and let them look at it and think about the purity that we wished for them to have. But I really wish I could go back to a lot of those girls and tell them that if they messed up, that it's okay, that they can find full forgiveness and have a wonderful marriage. And I just think that we really hammer down so much about purity and remaining pure that we overlook the chance to extend grace and to explain to those young ladies. And when I look back on it, I know there was a lot of them in there who had messed up, but I wish we would have opened our arms and said, you know what, if you've gone down this path and you've messed up, it's okay. God forgives you. You can start fresh and have a clean slate. And I just didn't do that. So that's something I have regretted.
Good one.
Would you?
I have some sinful moments obviously that I would like to go and wipe out. But as far
Sure.
as a do-over, I would say my very first full year of marriage. It was so hard. It wasn't anything like I expected or envisioned. And I always said for years after that, I would never go back and repeat that first year.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older and I'm looking back on younger me and remembering my indignation or my side of the story or all those things, I just shake my head and think, oh man, it was immaturity, you know, expectations set way too high, so a little self-righteousness thrown in. I mean, just this huge perfect storm for a lot of strife and conflict. And it was all on, I feel like, how I handled it.
Yeah.
And because of that, I feel like that whole first year I lost and it was my own fault. You know, like it just could have gone so much differently. And so if I had a do-over, I'd like to go back and say, can we start again? I'll do better this time, I promise.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to work out. So I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Were you completely unprepared? Like, did you have premarital counseling and stuff?
Yeah, we did. We had premarital. I thought I was completely prepared. You know, we both grew up in Christian homes. We did the premarital counseling thing. We both had the same goals, all the important things that you're supposed to talk about. But lo, he's a man and I'm a woman and we're not the same person.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very young. I was 18 when we got married. John was
Yeah.
21. So yeah, that would probably not be a bad thing to at least have the opportunity to correct some wrongs then. But it's funny that this next one, has anything bad ever happened to you that turned out to be for the best?
Wow. You go first. I need to think about that
Yeah,
one.
that's one that I don't really know the answer to. But I mean, I think talking about that first year of marriage and the mistakes that we made, I think some mistakes you really do learn from, um and you can use them to help other people down the road, or you can just make things better later on. You can laugh about it. Now, sometimes I look back and laugh about how immature I was. So I don't know.
Yeah. There've been a few doozies in my life. Some of them I brought on myself. Some of them are things that were out of my control, but I wouldn't want to wish for them again. But looking back, I can see how it caused me to do some deeper soul searching, forced me to make some changes that I probably never would have before, you know, or maybe it threw me into a situation where I had more understanding for others than I did before, or, you know, so looking back on those kinds of things, I can see an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's one situation I just remembered that I've thought about several times. And when I was pretty young, I was in a situation where I spent the night with a friend that my parents had no idea this would happen, and I didn't either. But her extended family had some alcohol. I mean, that was young guys. They were not much older than we were, and they were drinking. And it was terrifying to me because I'd never been around that. And there was one point in particular, I didn't sleep the whole night because they were outside being rowdy, and then they came inside, and one of them, her room was right outside the living room where they were. And I was she was asleep, and I was like terrified. And I remember one of these guys saying, let's go see what your little sister and her friend are doing, which, was could have been a very, 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 very bad situation. And they didn't, but I couldn't back then. There was no cell phone, and the phone to call my parents was outside her room, and I wasn't going to go outside the room to call them. So that was a horrible, horrible night, but it has made me petrified of anything related to alcohol. And so I have never touched it, never had any kind of desire for it, never want to have anything to do it, or anybody that's doing it. I don't want to, I'm scared of it. And I think that has helped me, because I know a lot of people do have struggles and temptations with that. And that has just never been a struggle or temptation of mine because of that. So I've said before that if I could manufacture something like that for my boys to where they were scared to death of it, that I, of course, didn't, but that is something bad that happened that turned out to be, it had good ramifications later.
Yeah, that's a good example. And I have a loved one a family member that is in a similar situation, and that they were exposed to something fearful in their growing up years concerning alcohol, and for that very reason never touched a drop of it, never had a desire, wanted to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
So that was a good outcome from something scary.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is, what do you miss about childhood?
No internet.
Yeah.
Playing outside in the sunshine all day long without a care in the world.
Yeah. You didn't go back in until your mom called you for supper.
I know, just the complete freedom. And Christy and I
Innocence.
would romp off into the woods and discover things and find things, and make a sprinkler out of the garden hose and run around it. I mean, I don't know. It was just seemed like the glorious days of summer where we just had so much fun and we were just outside with nothing.
Yeah. 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 It's the innocence of childhood that you didn't realize you had it when you had it. That song, it's a Christmas song, Toyland. Toyland, innocent something, something. Once you pass its borders, you can never return again. It's like once you've lost that innocence, you can't go back there. But yeah, same here. I think I remember the treasure of a big box, like a refrigerator sized box, and I would make a car, find something to make a steering wheel, and we'd set it on the driveway and paint it or color it and pretend it was a car. And or I'd play secretary, I'd set up my little table and pretend I had a typewriter, and just innocence and not a care in the world. Miss that too. Okay, if you could have a conversation with a deceased friend or relative, who would you choose?
Well, probably my grandpa. He was pretty quiet. He had a big influence on my life and, taught me a lot of things, namely music. But he was pretty quiet and not one to ever say, I love you. I know he did, but he just wasn't real verbose. But I remember when Neil and I were either dating or already married, that we went to visit my grandparents, and we were sitting in the living room, and next thing I know, Neil and my grandpa are having this long conversation. And I remember thinking, what are they talking about? And how did Neil get my grandpa to open up so much?
How did he?
I don't know, I think probably he was just paying attention to him.
Yeah.
Whereas most of my growing up around my grandpa was like what he's doing for me, teaching me things or giving me happy pills, which was candy corn, or just things like that. And or spending summers with them at Sally Buffalo, or just, I don't know, it was just so focused on me, and I never really thought of him as a person in his own right, and somebody that I can know and learn from and ask questions about his own life, as an adult, and get to know him. So that's probably who I'd want to go back and talk to.
I think I would like to have a conversation with my dad's mom, my Meemaw, for different reasons. She died. I was an adult. I was probably 25 or 30 when she died. And I was in the midst of raising boys, but she wrote something, kind of her memoirs, and didn't go very far, but I learned a lot of things about her in that. One of them was she worked for Swift and Company back in, I don't want to, that's like probably 1920 something. She was born in 1901. And if you were married back in that time, then you couldn't work there anymore, probably because it was Depression era. And so they were saving the jobs for the heads of the household. And she and my grandfather got married, and they were married for, I want to say, 2 or 3 years before anybody knew. And so I didn't know that until I read this. But I also, in that document that she wrote that she was disappointed that I had not worn this little diamond that she gave me on my wedding day, because it turns out that was the little diamond chip. It was a little teeny tiny thing that my grandfather put on her engagement ring. And I had no idea. I had no idea.
How sweet is that?
It was sweet, but it also broke my heart because I
Yeah.
disappointed her and I had no
Oh.
idea. And I wish I had known. I absolutely would have worn that on my wedding day.
Hmm.
I loved it because I knew it was from her. She put it in a little silver star and put it on a necklace and gave it to me when I was born. So I always knew that that necklace came from Meemaw, but I did not know that it was her engagement diamond. And I mean, I would love to hug her and say, that talk about a do-over. I would wear that on my
Yeah.
wedding day and I would have that conversation with
Oh,
her. So anyway,
that's the stuff good novels are made of right there.
yeah, things you don't know about your relatives.
Hmm.
Okay, if you had to spend 1 year living alone in a remote cabin, what would you spend your time doing?
Easy. Reading and writing.
Yeah. What would you
Drinking
be
tea and
reading and writing?
coffee.
No
I'd read
exercise.
whatever I wanted to.
Hmm.
Um, I'd write all kinds of things. Yeah, just the freedom to, you know how you feel, maybe you don't, but it's always like we live assignment driven.
Yeah.
We're working on this or that
Not
class
because
or
you want to.
lesson or article that you need to write
Mhm.
or, but just the complete freedom to, oh, now I have all this time to write what I want to write or read what I want to read or, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. I would definitely read. I would read for sure. If it depends on where it was, like it says remote cabin, like
Mm-hmm.
is this like a remote cabin like the Unabomber was in, or is it a remote cabin up on top of a mountain somewhere that has a view? Because
Or
if
is
it
it
has a
more of
view,
a thatched little hut on a beach somewhere?
okay, I could get on board with that. What if it's one of those that has like a sidewalk out into the
Onto
ocean
the
and it's
water
so there's blue water and there's never going to be any hurricanes or any bad weather while you're there,
or sharks?
but there's electricity
Mm-hmm.
so I can plug my sewing machine in. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here's one. Excuse me. And it might, if you can't think of one, just say so and we'll move on. What song evokes the strongest memories for you? Because this is kind of one of those things you have to think about.
Uh, there's a hymn called God's Family
Mm-hmm.
that when I was growing up, my family used to sing that together. There were several of them, but that's the one that sticks strongest with me. There were four of us, so we had all four parts. And when my parents divorced for a long time after that, I could never hear that song without crying.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can appreciate it for the song that it is, and the
Yeah.
message that it gives and remember the brighter memories from that song. So that's probably, I mean, we had Love Can Build a Bridge at our wedding, so that's pretty impactful also. But probably
Yeah.
God's Family is the one with the most
Okay.
significance.
Well, mine is, there's plenty of hymns that have strong memories, but I'm going to be more secular here. When my Meemaw that I was just talking about, she sent us to Europe when I was 17. So it was a year before John and I got married. And it was the first time I'd ever been out of the country. We went to Germany and Austria and Switzerland. And I had terrible culture shock. I had terrible jet lag. I had terrible missing John. And so I enjoyed the trip because I mean, there's a lot of things, beautiful country and all, but mom says
Mm-hmm.
that I slept all the way through it. But at the very end of the trip, I don't remember where it was, somewhere in Germany, there was like a army base, an American army base, and there was a steakhouse on the base. Somehow we got in, I don't know. And when we walked in, Lionel Richie was singing Penny Lover. Remember that?
I remember
And
Lionel Richie.
you would have been, yeah,
How'd
you
it
would have been a
go?
little younger than me, but that whole album that had
Sing
Three
it.
Times a Lady and
Oh, I know that one.
Easy Like Sunday Morning, who
I know that
obviously
one
he never
too.
went to church because, yeah, but it was like, oh, American. I feel like I'm at home now. So it was just, every time I hear that song now, I'm like, I remember that feeling of, ooh, I'm home again, even though I wasn't, I was in Germany, but just music makes you
Mm-hmm.
feel things.
It sure does. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. I'll just do a few more here. What what kind of business would you love to start?
I've always wanted to open up my own tea house.
I can see you doing that.
Mhm. I even thought about if I ever did that, having different tables representing different styles of tea. So you could pick when you walked in, do you want an Irish tea, a more traditional Southern tea, a British tea, those kinds of things.
Yeah. This is one of the differences between you and me is you'd rather have tea, I think, depending on the time of day, and I'd rather have coffee any time of day. I'm not a big tea
Oh,
drinker.
I like coffee in the morning, but I
Yeah.
like tea in the afternoon.
No, I just don't, I don't like any hot drink. Well, I like hot chocolate, but I don't like hot tea. I like cold tea.
What about you?
Business. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever really wanted to start a business, so that's a hard one. I would love to have build your own Bible. And I've mentioned this before, where you can, there's no way in the world you could do this the way I want to do it, because you would have to have access to all translations, but you can pick your leather binding, pick your the size of the print, pick, is it paragraph, single paragraph, double paragraph, side by side. Is it whatever translation you want? How much room do you have around the margins to write notes in? All like build, it's like Build a Bear, but it's Build a Bible. So that
I
probably
like
would be
it.
my answer.
Like customize it. Like people do their vehicles. I like that one.
Yeah.
A bookstore would be fun also.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Would you like a quiet life of safety or a life of great adventure and uncertainty?
That's a tough one. I definitely like that. I want both.
Yeah. You can't have both.
But I want both. I want the quiet life, but I also want to be able to
Quiet life of
travel.
adventure.
I want to be able to travel when I want to and experience new places and cultures and go into caves in Israel and stuff like that.
Yeah. You and John and Neil. I think I probably realistically would pick a quiet life of safety, but I like occasional adventure. So probably I want both too. I want safe adventure. Is that too much to ask? I feel like there's a theme here. Is that too much to ask?
You want adventure with bumper pads.
Yes. Yeah. I just want to know that I'm going to do this great adventure, but I'm going to be safe and no one's going to get hurt. Yeah. Okay. Which of your personality traits would you most like to change?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Most like to change. That's a tough one. I have so many. Truly. I would like to change. I know what it is. I wish I wasn't so critical of others.
Yeah.
I mean, I may not say it out loud,
You
except for Neil. Sorry, Neil. But I think it. Yeah. Which is horrible because obviously.
Is that a personality trait or a character trait?
Yes.
I think that's probably more character than personality.
Okay. I wish it was easier for me to be more outgoing then. Is that a personality thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm standing by my first answer.
Okay. You can do whatever you want. I probably would like to be less awkward.
But it makes you cute and endearing.
So I am awkward.
No.
I trapped you in that one. Okay, which other culture would you choose to be born into? Let's say culture or century.
Okay. I like the century I'm in.
Yeah. Conveniences.
Not necessarily the decade, but and culture. I love a lot of things about other cultures, but wouldn't necessarily want to live there.
Yeah.
Because my first thought went straight to Africa, then Israel, and some of the beautiful things involved with those cultures, but then I'd miss too many things about our own culture. So the one
I just want to visit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to like visit Laura Ingalls for a week or so? And then I'm always fascinated by the World War II era. And I think it's romanticized but it shouldn't be because it was a horrible time. But there was so much patriotism and so much working together. And it seemed like, I mean, of course, I didn't live then, but it seems like when I read and see things written about the time period is that they worked together and were trying to, I don't know, have unity, at least in this country. I don't know.
Mhm. I think my biggest, when I think about what I would like or long for, it always goes back to any time before the internet, which I know has obviously brought about a lot of good things. We wouldn't have this podcast if it weren't for the internet, and be in touch with loved ones if it weren't for our phones and stuff like that. But I don't know. It just seems like it's also changed our lives so much,
Mhm.
and how much time we spend on our phones and
Yeah.
or tied to a laptop or a device instead of, being face to face with people and working with our hands. I don't know. Maybe that's our last episode was about aging. Maybe that's a sign of
Yeah,
aging.
it's still on the
I miss
brain.
the days back in my day.
Yeah.
You had to mail a letter.
And wasn't it fun to get mail?
Right?
Just snail mail.
Yeah.
Okay, one more serious. What one fear would you like to conquer?
Okay. Um, I would say the fear of something happening to one of my kids or grandkids, mostly spiritually.
Mhm.
I used to be able to say I never really experienced fear until my kids started driving. And then all of a sudden the whole world was scary, But
Mhm.
I think now that they're all grown and they're adults, my biggest fear is that something will happen in life that will make them give up on God or turn away from God or, hurt them so badly, or those are my biggest fears. So
Yeah. I think mine, I would like to get over the fear of a repeat thing happening to John. And I don't dwell on it like I did for a while, but it prevents me from wanting to do things, mostly going places that he would like to go,
mhm.
because I think, well, what's the medical situation like there? It's like there's this before and after.
Mhm.
And there's this period of innocence where you didn't realize anything like that could really happen. And then there's the after.
Mhm.
And I would like to go back to the before where I didn't really think about it. And I know you got to think about things. You have to consider what, weigh the pros and the cons and the good and the bad, whatever. But I feel like I way more tend to weigh WAY more tend to WEIGH, the bad that might happen. And I would like to go back to that period of innocence. And I know a lot of people, the older you get, things happen. And I always admire people that, especially people that come on those trips with us, who they're in their 80s sometimes. And I think, are you afraid of being out of the country? And they're like, no, let's do this. And I love that about them. I think they've
Mhm.
helped me to be more that way, whereas I would never have used to be that way. But anyway, that's where I'd go.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one.
Understandable.
Yeah, I have one that I think it's a trivial one, but I think I know the answer to for you. If you were given money to remodel your house, what would you change first?
My kitchen cabinets.
Okay, that's not what I was going to say. You're not allowed to say that one.
Well, my second one would be I wish I had a sunroom or even just a screened in porch.
That's the
But
perfect place for one.
yeah, it is. So I'd like to do that at some point. It'll probably never happen, but I've never wanted white kitchen cabinets.
Yeah.
This is my second house in a row with white, and I don't even want painted kitchen cabinets, which is what makes it harder. I want them like stripped and then stained,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big, bad, ugly job. So
Yeah, it is.
I
Well,
would rather.
Micah has his own cabinet building. I don't think he travels to Kentucky though.
Hmm, yeah, well, I know a guy.
You know a guy.
You
Okay,
have influence.
yeah, let's see. We'll see what I can do. If I was given money to remodel, what would I change? I don't know. I like our house the way it's set up, and I like the layout.
Yeah, you've already made some really good big
Yeah,
changes, like expanding your
probably.
deck and your beautiful bathroom. And
I think I might put like a French door or a sliding glass, probably French door right there in our dining room that would lead straight out onto the deck instead of coming in through that back door that goes through the office. I think it would be neat to have one of those doors there.
mm-hmm,
So that's
mm-hmm.
all I can think of.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more silly ones and then we'll wrap this up. What is one thing that you wanted as a child but never got?
I got everything I
You got
wanted.
everything you wanted?
I was a simple child. I got my Holly Hobby Easy Bake Oven. I had a bike when I wanted a bike. I really
You didn't
probably
want.
as I got a little bit older, there would have been some more name brand jeans
Yeah.
that
Like
I
what name
wanted.
brand?
Guess I think is the only one that really pops into my mind right now. I think I was wearing Jordache and all my friends were wearing Guess jeans.
Oh, I would have said Jordache because that's what all my friends wore. And I had
Yeah,
Lee, Lee
yeah.
jeans.
So
Okay, I
that
might have.
my parents had no interest or patience with like name brand clothing or things like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah,
that was
not
not
either.
happening.
I could save up and buy my own, but I didn't. I
Yeah.
didn't. Okay, one more. If you could have front row seats to any concert, who would you like to see?
uh, you're not ending on a good one for me. You answer this
Okay.
one.
Here's another one. What
You
does your
answer
perfect
it.
day look like? Oh, I don't know. Barbara Streisand. I don't like her politically, but I love
Barbara
hearing her.
Streisand?
So
Are you serious?
that's the only thing I can think of. I'm sure I could come up with better.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know you liked her.
I love
Huh,
her voice. I would
interesting.
I would listen to Lady Gaga. She's got pipes like nobody else. If she was doing a clean concert, I would like to hear
Mm,
her. I don't know. I love live music, but we don't do a lot of concerts.
we don't either.
Okay.
What'd you say?
What does your perfect day look like?
A whole day to myself doing whatever I want, which should involve maybe a little bit of gardening, but not weeding, just the fun gardening.
Mm-hmm.
Reading to my heart's content, baking something in the kitchen, and getting to eat all of it
Without gaining any weight.
without gaining any weight. Lighting some candles, drinking some tea. There you go.
Okay. Pretty simple.
I should have mentioned some people, but I love people.
You might leave somebody else out. So
That's right.
yeah. I could go along with that. I would be outside and about 85 degrees, so it's pretty warm. Um, Private beach.
Or a swimming pool.
Yeah, that's what
A
that works too.
big, lovely in-ground pool
Mm-hmm.
with a
Yeah.
book.
With one of
Mm-mm.
those tanning shelves that you could like sit in the water, but you're not deep in the water.
Oh,
It's like 2 inches deep,
mm-hmm.
so you can just sit there. Yeah, with a book. You could be there.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. And
And a really good freshly squeezed limeade with mint
yeah, I would rather have
and sparkling water.
I would rather have a brown sugar shaken espresso with no cinnamon from Katie Balance. Yeah, and some chocolate, something like a really good chocolate cake, not just chocolates, but something that you can chew
Mm.
with no weight gain, and something pasta for dinner.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good to me.
We could probably make that happen. I
Let's
don't know
do
about the
it.
weight gain thing. Okay. Do you have something good this week?
I do. I've mentioned before on here the Logos app, which is that thing where the app has every version of the Bible that you could possibly want. And I've mentioned it on here because you can highlight words in the text and it'll bring up the word in the original language and what it means. You can also listen to the audio Bible on here. different versions. Well, I just made a discovery. Neil and I made a discovery on this Logos app recently, and that's if you go to the word more in the bottom right corner and open that up under the documents section, there's a place called prayers, and you can list out your daily prayers. That's not showing up in the screen, I know, but
Oh, I see it.
I knew it was on the desktop version because on the, which is more expensive, obviously, but and that version on your homepage, it'll say Kathy's prayers, and anything I put in there, it comes up as a reminder. But I didn't know that it was on the app. And since that's free, you can get these little reminders and you can add to it. So this week I just added pray for David B. Jones, Wayne Jones's dad, who's just been diagnosed with leukemia. So we're praying for him. And you can add who you want to be praying for, why you're praying for them, how often, is this a daily prayer, that kind of thing. And so all this time I've had this Logos app and didn't even know that that prayer feature was on here. So that's pretty handy.
Yeah. There's a ton of stuff in there that I've never even opened and looked at. So that I need to do that. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, mine is a skort.
Because you're getting ready to travel.
Yeah. Well, I love in the summertime, I'd rather wear like a dress just because it's cooler and easier, like one piece, whatever. But this is a skort. So it's a skirt with sewn in shorts that are underneath. But this one it's longer length. It's 21 inches. So I'm pretty short. I'm 5'3" maybe. And this one goes just below my knee. So I feel like it's something that I feel covered in, but I just like the, what's the word? It's not maybe the confidence or the reassurance or whatever of the shorts underneath, just because, occasionally I fall, not very often, but sometimes it happens.
Or you have to crawl under a table.
Yeah, there's all kinds of situations, but I've been looking for a little bit longer ones and comfortable, and I found one on Amazon, and it's just the brand is called Anivivo, Anivivo. So I have no idea where it comes from, but I ordered one a couple weeks ago just to see if it was something that I would like, because I'm a little bit picky about them. And it's stretchy nylon, it's like spandex. And I loved it so much that I ordered 2 more in different colors. And 2 of the colors, the front pockets have zippers, which is especially great when you're traveling. And one, I think the khaki colored just had a pocket. It didn't have a zipper on it. I don't know why, but they're super comfortable. I think it's fairly flattering, and it's going to be really great for traveling, for just daily wear. I mean, that's just basically what I wear every day. So I will share a link in the group.
Oh, good.
For that. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. But anyway,
that's a good one.
Something good.
One of my favorite things to wear in the summer is like just running errands. I have this cotton skirt, but it has a cotton liner. And so I don't have to wear a slip with it. And you know how a lot of skirts, if they are lined, it's more of a blend polyester or something like that, which makes me sweat more. But this has a cotton liner, so it's so comfortable. And I just love to throw on a t-shirt or short sleeve cotton shirt with it. And it has a elastic waistband. I mean, I just slip that thing on over my hips and throw on a pair of flip-flops, and it's the best.
Yeah.
But it's the only one I have like it, and I've never seen one anywhere ever since.
Yeah. I've been looking for travel clothes and summertime, because it'll probably be pretty hot. But anyway, that's one that I've landed on, and I've got one in 3 different colors.
All right.
Well, I've enjoyed this. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I just like the table topics. It's something that we keep on our table, and when we have people over, we'll just pull one out, and it usually sparks a discussion that you find out things about people that you never knew. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not such a good thing. But I thought it would just be fun to have that
was fun
good discussion idea today. Yeah, good. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to all of you out there who are joining us. We really, truly do appreciate it. We would love for you to share links to our podcast. We have it on YouTube. We have it on all the podcast platforms, or share a link to our Looking Up group on Facebook. We try to keep up with social media. That's my job, and I don't always do a great job, but I'm trying. But we just really do appreciate you, and I love and appreciate you, and thank you for your friendship, and I've enjoyed talking to you. So do you have anything else?
Well, just for fun, if anybody else wants to share their last 3 or 4 purchases on Marketplace,
no, that would be fun.
You'd be interested in seeing if you do that.
So we can be jealous of you.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, that was fun. All right. Well, good discussion.
I enjoyed it.
I love you. And until next time,
keep looking up, Carla.
Yeah, I will try.